So you're in the market to buy a new home, but you're not sure where to start, or maybe, you keep losing offers, or maybe people aren't working with you. Whatever it may be, I'm going to give you the 5 mistakes that I see most buyers making in the market, and what to do about them, how to fix them, and how to prepare to really truly buy a home and to be the best situation possible. What's going on, guys? If you're new to the channel and you want to know all there is about living in Cleveland, Ohio, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you can stay updated on all things Cleveland. My name is Kip Sweeney with Living Cleveland, Ohio, powered by Mancuso Homes. And if you're thinking about making the move to Cleveland, whether that's buying or maybe you're in Cleveland, you're selling, or you want to invest in Cleveland, make sure to check out the description box below and take my contact information, shoot me a text, give me a call, send me an email, whatever it is, send a pigeon bird with a little note, whatever it might be, I'll be happy to assist you, and let's jump onto a call to really dive deep into your personal goals. But let's jump into this video about the top 5 mistakes that I see from home buyers in this market. Alrighty, so obviously home buying is already a very stressful, it can be very overwhelming process that really, no one really guides you. Like I feel like it's almost like, well, it's not even comparative, but just a little tangent. It's kind of funny to think about having a kid. It's like when you first have your first child, you don't know what to do, right? Like you're relying on other family members and parents to teach you what they did, but things are so much different. Like, I mean, when I was a kid, I'm sure half the stuff didn't exist that we do now for our kids. But yeah, so I mean, it's almost like that in the home buying process, right? So it's like, you don't really know what to do. Where do you start and how do you go about it? Well, the first and foremost, the first and biggest mistake that I see people making is coming into the market without having been pre-approved, without having talked to a lender to see. They're essentially searching and house hunting with no ticket. And this isn't gonna get you anywhere. You're not gonna A, land any deals. B, it's gonna be quite difficult to work with an experienced agent because of a couple things. A, they're busy. So if you don't have that pre-approval, they don't see you as serious, because many times we're submitting offers with that pre-approval to show sellers that you're a serious buyer, but also they're unsure of what your budget is and what your purchase power is. You can say one thing, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be able to get that from the bank unless you have cash that you're going to pay with it, which would be great to tell them and keep up front to make known. Then it's really difficult for an agent who is experienced working with other people to take you on, because they might be thinking it could be a waste of time. There's a lot of people that want to just get into houses to check them out, or a lot of people that have an agent already that, they just act like they don't, and all of a sudden they just ghost you. So being able to provide that pre-approval really helps an agent really understand that you're serious, or if you're, of course, willing to talk to an agent, a lender, it helps them understand that you're serious and that you're ready to go. And it gives us an idea of what you can purchase. We don't want to go looking at $750,000 homes when we should only be at $450,000, because if you see one house at a $750,000 budget, it's going to be pretty hard to convince you guys otherwise to say, okay, here's your $450,000 house, and this is what we got to get you into, because the quality is going to be different, right? Most of the time, at least you'd expect it to be. But that is the biggest thing. So the pre-approval is truly everything for a lot of different reasons. And it just is a very simple process. It's a very soft credit pull. So if that's what you're worried about, just know it's a very soft credit pull. And honestly, if there's a lender that tells you it's going to be a hard credit pull, then get out of there. Don't work with them. This is why it's important to listen or to speak with an agent and ask them for some recommendations, because we have people that we like, that we build connections with and relationships with, because they are good lenders. They do good work, and we know that we can trust them. We know we can rely on them, and that our clients are in good hands, because they're part of the process too. I mean, we're working with you closely, but that lender is part of this whole process as well, and can honestly help us land a deal more so than if we just ignore them. They can call the agent, they can speak to the agent on the selling side and discuss and talk about your finances and how you are a strong candidate and that you have no problem getting this. Or they're going to be able to go ahead and call the agent and be like, hey, we got this waiver appraisal for this house. You don't have to worry about an appraisal, which would be amazing. That's if you chose to accept that, because that goes far as well in the seller's eyes. So really, truly, the lending process is very important. So working with A, the right lender, but B, a lender out the gate is very important. Now, just keep all of that in mind. Obviously, I always recommend 3 at the very least of my lenders that I like to work with, so that you can give them a call, pick their brain, and see who you may want to work with the most, and see what they're willing to give in A, programs, B, rates, and with the offer, right? So it's a very important process and really goes a far way when it comes to purchasing your home, of course. And finally, the nice thing about working with the lender is when we go into a house, or when you find a house of interest that's of course within the budget and all that good stuff, you're able to say, hey, Mr. Lender, Mrs. Lender, what does this look like? What are my monthly budget? What's my monthly payment? What will this be? A rough estimate. And that will give you a good idea, because taxes are different, insurance could be different, things of this nature that really go into consideration for your monthly budget, for your monthly payment. And so knowing that when you going into the offering stage can allow you to A, either get more competitive with your offer because you feel more comfortable, or B, just say, hey, you know what, that one might be a little too expensive for me. Let's not even think about it. So it's a great way to really be able to weed out the houses, or to really go into a house that you really love with a very strong offer, and just to also know what that looks like, because it is an overwhelming process. It is a big purchase. So understanding what those payments look like is going to be pretty critical in my opinion. I mean, that's how I like to look at things, but everyone is different. Mistake number 2 that we see, and I see a lot, is skipping the home inspection. Now, okay, some people may be able to handle this themselves. Some people may have this experience with homes. They might be very comfortable with things and understand when they go to tour that house that, hey, I know exactly what to expect, and I see this and it looks okay to me, I'm willing to risk it. Or maybe they're buying a home that needs some work. So, they're going into it and saying, okay, I understand I'm going to be making changes, updating this, doing all this stuff, so I'm okay to skip that. Now, right now in today's market, some people are skipping them, omitting and waiving the inspection to, cater to the seller, because in Cleveland, it's still kind of shifting now at the time of this video, but it's been a seller's market. So some people are waiving that inspection to get them to approve or to accept their offer. I would never advise that, simply because there's so many things that you can't see that we don't know. We don't even know what the roof looks like. If they're not giving us the age, we don't know what that looks like. And so there's a lot of different things that we would want to take into consideration with the inspection that could be very important and could cost you so much more money after the purchase. There's so many things. Even if the seller doesn't disclose it, they may not know about some of these things. So the inspection is really important, and to make sure that that happens. It's a $400, $600 thing that can give you a lot of certainty and also get you some money back in some cases. That's going to really make you a little bit more comfortable going into this big purchase. So it's something I would never advise. Don't skip this inspection. You want to be knowledgeable as possible on this thing that you're purchasing, right? And if there's something that's underlying that A, the seller didn't know, B, we couldn't see, then it gives you the option to A, get a credit back from the seller, get the seller to fix it with receipts. Or maybe it makes you a little uncomfortable and you're saying, hey, I don't want that. And it allows you to kind of say, okay, I'm gonna back out of this and get your earnest money back because of that latent defect. So there's a lot of ways people kind of manipulate the inspection, of course, but here in Cleveland, especially if you're buying within the city where we have a lot of century homes, I highly, 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 highly suggest getting that inspection. You should not be skipping that unless you are someone that is prepared and comfortable with it. Unless you're someone that has experience, that knows what they're doing, and you're comfortable with it. Do not skip the inspection. The inspection is going to help you. Mistake number 3, and I don't know how common this is, but this is just something I think I want to throw in here. And that's ignoring the neighborhood and just focusing on the home. Many, many, many people just get into the house and they begin to envision furniture here, furniture there, how they're gonna live, the layout of the house, and that's great, right? But part of the process is making sure that it's a neighborhood you want to live in, because you don't know how busy it gets. You don't know how noisy it gets. You don't know the traffic. All of these things can be a negative for you, right? So if you love the house, it may not be enough to, sit in an extra 10 minutes of traffic because it's a busy area, or it may not be enough to not have other children on the street or anything else of that nature. So the biggest thing is making sure that you're visiting that neighborhood. If you find that house, drive the street, drive the neighborhood multiple times, going in the evening, going in the morning, going during the middle of the day. You want to be able to see what's happening, what kind of action is there, what does it feel like? And now, obviously, the demographics of it, like saying how many kids are there, or what are the ages of most of the homeowners. All that we can't really disclose or anything like that, but you can go and you can see, are there kids playing outside, or is it a very quiet neighborhood? Is it a loud neighborhood? Are there a lot of cars that come through this street specifically to either get somewhere else or to get home, or whatever that might be? So going through the neighborhood multiple times, and not just once, but being able to go through there a couple times is going to really make sure that you feel comfortable in that home itself. Because living in that house is one thing and you're gonna love it, but you may not enjoy everything else that comes with it. And that can really take away from the experience of that house and that property itself. Maybe you're too far away from work. Maybe the route that you have to take to get to work is a pain in the butt. Or maybe you just don't like all the traffic that comes through. It could be a through street, and you might have a lot of cars coming through, and you don't want your children in risk of, getting hit. Or maybe it's you don't have children and you're like, I don't want to deal with backing out of this driveway every single time with all this traffic coming, blah, blah, blah. So a lot of different things to take into consideration, because property isn't just the four walls that the house has. It's really a lot more, and making sure that you love the neighborhood is part of that. Do you like that, your nearby activities or restaurants? Do you want it to be walkable? Do you want to be able to get to a grocery store within 10 minutes? Is there a train that's coming by in the nearby area every single night or every evening or in the middle of the night? Just the general vibe of the community. You want to make sure that it's something for you, your family, or whoever all is going to be living in the home itself. So really making sure that it's important to you, that you're happy with it. And not only the property, but the neighborhood is critical to making sure you made the right decision and are going to make a long time purchase and not be moving in the near future, right? So make sure you explore the neighborhood and you really experience it at different points, different times of the day. And if you can, different days. But sometimes, because of the market, it may not allow you to have that much time. But if you can, do it. Mistake number 4. This is a huge one. It goes with the lender's mistake. So, getting new credit, making big purchases, or even missing payments once you're under contract. It's exciting. I get it. You're under contract. Okay, now I need furniture. Now I want to do this, do that. How am I going to set my house up? I need some plates. I need whatever. Don't do it yet. If you're going under contract, just because you have your pre-approval, it is not a guarantee. They're still going to do the hard credit pull later on with the underwriting and making sure everything is good and make sure you're approved. So do not go and buy a new truck. Do not buy all your furniture. Don't rack up a ton of credit or get new inquiries, because it can really hurt your debt to income ratio. And in some cases, you might get that pre-approval or that loan revoked. So let's take that bank account, let's put it in a glass box, take the keys, lock that sucker up, give someone else the keys. I don't know, we're gonna put it in something that doesn't open up until 30 days later, right? Once we're closed, you can get those keys back and you can go willy-nilly on whatever you want. I mean, it's yours now, right? You're good, you're pre-approved, you're approved, we've closed, you have the house, it's yours, title, deed, everything transferred, and you're golden. So now you can do what you would like. Just make sure you can still make those payments, because we don't want to, be defaulting or anything like that. Just be patient. Let those 30 days be like, I don't know, let's say your college days. Be frugal, use cash when you can, and just don't make any big purchases. You only want the necessities during this time. You want to make sure that you don't do anything to hinder your chances or to change what you're getting from the bank, because it is not a fun experience for anyone, especially with all the emotions that you've gone through to get to this point. Make sure we're locking up that bank account, we're using cash, we're being frugal, we're being cheap, and we're not doing anything crazy in those 30 days while under contract. You don't want to make that mistake. It is not something you will enjoy, and it will be a very upsetting mistake, I promise. So just be careful, don't buy anything, lock up your bank account, take your keys, throw them in the dirt. We can just get one of those metal detectors out later to find them. Just keep it safe, sound, and secure. All right? So keep that in mind. Huge mistake that a lot of people do end up making. We don't want that. All right? So stay safe. And finally, mistake number 5, listening to a family member, friend, a colleague, whatever it is, about the home offer and what you're purchasing. Don't think they know better than your agent, than myself, whoever's helping you on this transaction. because we are researching, doing this analyzation of the research, the homes, the comparables every single day. And if you're with a good agent, if you've done your research, you've interviewed your agents, and you made sure that you're working with someone that is on the same, wavelength as yourself, they're going to make sure, and we're going to make sure that we're giving you the best offer and giving you options for this house. We'll give you, hey, this is where you need to be. This is what we see based on this information, this data. This is what you're going to need to do to land this house. Depending on the market, the way it's shifted, depending on a lot of different things. There's so many different things that go into the strategy of creating an offer that's competitive, that's going to win, and that's going to get you the best deal on this house. Just because you had, Joe Schmo buying a house with, everything, 3% concessions and, getting credit back and getting their closing costs paid and $50,000 below ask, doesn't mean it's going to happen for yourself. It doesn't mean it's the same market. It doesn't mean that it's the same house. This man could have bought a house that's been sitting for 50 plus days because of mold or water damage or foundation issues. And so, yeah, they have leverage. They have the opportunity to go in and to get some of this stuff because that person wants this house sold. And so being on the market for so long, they are going to give in. Again, going with that first one, buyers will get their budget and they'll say, oh, cool, I can be up to $400,000. Well, can you really? It's not ideal. You can. It doesn't mean that it's the best idea because it doesn't mean that you can always win the offers. So maybe you can get up to $400,000, but it doesn't mean that you're going to be able to go into the house that you really, really love at a competitive offer because you might be tapping out and capping that budget at that 400K, and you don't want to necessarily go at your top budget, say you're $400,000, because you may not, A, be able to be comfortable with those payments, but B, you may not be able to get very competitive with that offer because there's going to be people over ask, right? Maybe if, we can go into that range at some point with homes that are above a certain time period because they probably are overpriced, but with homes that are on the market for less than a week and trying to go in and ask for seller concessions plus a lesser purchase price and just all the whistles is going to be very, very difficult. So again, just because a friend or a family member was able to get an amazing deal on a home and get the seller to pay the closing costs and all that good stuff, doesn't mean it's going to work for yourself. The market could be different. The times are going to be different. The house itself is going to be different. So there's a lot of different things to take into consideration. And every single deal, every single home is always a different story. It's really, really difficult when you have 4, 5, 6 different people in on a deal, negotiating, talking about these things that they want and they need and trying to get everything from the seller, because it doesn't work like that. The seller may not even be open to it in some cases and just say, no, this is what I want and I'll wait for it. You don't know how many days in the market they were on. You don't know the conditions of that house. We don't know what needed to be done, the work, the inspection, all of that stuff. So maybe it didn't even appraise at their offer price and they got it to come down. So there's a lot of things that go into consideration with the offer itself, with the house, with the market. And you really need to allow us to kind of take that information, present it to you and say, hey, here's what I think we should do. What do you feel comfortable with yourself? If you want a competitive shot at winning this house that's in multiples, here's what we're going to have to do. Because too many times have I suggested it, or has it taken 2, 3, or 4 deals where we don't win in multiples, and knowingly, and having shared that information because I've seen what the deal is and I know what the house is going to go for. And it takes a couple, sorry, you guys didn't win this offer, to be like, okay, you know what? We need to get competitive. We need to do a little bit more, or whatever it may be. And again, times change, the market changes, so it may not always be that way, but it's very important to listen to your agent, to us, and allow us to do our job as well. That's why you are paying us, or we are being paid. And again, yes, buyers sometimes might be paying the agent themselves. There'll be a different video of that, but it's important to take into consideration what we have to say and what's going to be the best route for that specific house once you find something that you want to offer on. All right, guys, so that's the top 5 mistakes that I see buyers making in this market. So tell me, what did you think about it? Did anything click with you? Did anything maybe, go against what you think? Or was any of it new to you? Did you know anything? Just let me know in the comments below. And let me know what you want to hear about next. If there's anything specific, I'm going to be coming out with a video here soon about the buying process for some first-time home buyers or for people that's been out of the business for some time because things have changed here. So be on the lookout for that. But again, don't hesitate to give me a call, a text, email, whatever it may be. I'm here for you. I'm happy to help, and I look forward to hopefully meeting some of you guys in person. Alrighty, so stay tuned for the next video. I appreciate you watching, and let me know what you thought in the comments below. See ya.